Hello, and welcome to the Pulse of Jonesboro. I am Jeremy Terrell, and I am your host, and I appreciate you tuning in today. So it's been 2 weeks since we have done a post. We had took the holidays off, and it was a great couple weeks. I hope everybody had a wonderful Christmas and a New Year's. We did. We had tons of family, and it was fantastic. I got to see family and my kids that I haven't seen in several months, and it was really great. I hope the same for you guys. So today we're going to talk a little bit about 2026 and what I would like to see, and I believe that you guys would like to see happen in Craighead and in Jonesboro. So it was a crazy year. Lots going on. Lots happened, still happening. There's an ongoing investigation still with the Parks Department and Danny Capalis, and he has recently, as of this past week, stepped down, and that, as far as I know, the investigation is still going full and strong. I know that tons of interviews have been being done. As far as I know, I've heard that, through grapevines, that lots and lots of people within the city government have been interviewed and will continue to be interviewed. And it's going to be interesting what happens when this is all said and done. I believe that other things will probably come out from this that have nothing to do with the parks situation and the City Star situation, which will be interesting. And I believe that it will start a level of transparency that we all want, and not that the mayor wants transparency or anything else, but I do believe that there's going to be some people held to the fire on this deal, where if they don't have transparency, if they don't change that, it's going to be bad. Things will happen in a sense of, you'll get people turning from the city. Normal supporters of the city are going to be thinking twice about what's going on. I just believe when this is all done, it's going to be bigger than we thought it was. It's the way I feel. I don't have any information other than I'm not blind. I got a brain, just like I got up and gave the numbers 6 months ago or whatever it was, at a city council meeting, and nobody did anything. I know that a few city councilmen were kind of wondering what's going on, and I know that they pressed for transparency, and I know that they pressed to change things, but nothing happened. And nothing happened actually until the feds got involved, and then they want to make a change. And that's kind of typical with our city. The changes that we make are kind of silly, and then when they get their feet held to the fire, then they make some changes. So I don't know exactly. I don't know exactly what's going to happen. I just have a feeling that it's going to be way bigger than we think it is. So, or thought it was. So, anyways, with that being said, I really want to kind of focus on some things of 2026 that I would love to see happen. And I got a list of things, and I believe that these are kind of the importance of Jonesboro. Like, these things would make a huge difference if some of these things started to happen and things to change. So I want to go through them kind of one at a time, and I want to just start with roads. This list is no way, there is no 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I guess I could do that, but they're so important that they're all number one, they're all number two, all number three. So I want to start with roads. I do a ton of research. How do cities go in what direction do they go, and what's the causes? And one of the major, biggest things that happen when cities start to go in the wrong direction is roads and roads conditions. And by looking at social media and others, Jonesboro is fed up with roads. We have some areas that are majorly deteriorating. And I keep hearing the mayor say, well, we don't have enough money. I do know that midway through the year, I found out that we had $9 million in the road fund that we hadn't touched. And as far as I know, we still haven't touched that. I'm not sure why that is. And if I'm wrong, somebody in the comments that knows can tell me I'm wrong. But I don't know. I know we haven't done $9 million worth of roads. I do know that roads are massively deteriorating. I know that neighborhoods are in big trouble as far as just the way the roads are. I know some that need completely redone, cannot be resurfaced. And the majority of the people of Jonesboro say that the roads are bad. So somehow, some way, if we don't have enough money, then the mayor needs to do some sort of, go through the budget again, find out where we can cut and move stuff to the roads. Maybe talk to the people. I don't know. Like, I get that if it's the same budget for the roads that we've had, for a long time, and we haven't changed it in 10 years, and we get, 30,000 plus extra people on the weekends, then we need help. We need to do some things different. But if that's the case, then, we need to work with the county and the state, because the majority of those people coming in usually are traveling on state and county highways, which they are responsible for. So why are neighborhoods decaying and side roads decaying at a rapid rate? I don't know. It's pretty silly. I know that there's been meetings over the several last 2 years. I know in 2024 there was meetings and they had a big bulletin board. They had everything assigned to A, B, C, or D, maybe even F. I don't know, but I know that there was a board, and I know that we weren't doing the Fs. I know that we were doing some Bs. And if you complained enough, you got your road done over some road that was completely deteriorating. Anyways, it's a huge deal. It's a major deal. This is one of the biggest reasons why cities start to fail and start going in the wrong direction when their roads deteriorate. People don't want to come here. Businesses don't want to come here. People don't want to travel here. I mean, those of us that go to Memphis regularly, and my wife and I, we go regularly enough that the road in West Memphis going to the bridges is atrocious. It's absolutely atrocious. And there's a couple of roads in Memphis that are absolutely atrocious. And, Memphis and West Memphis are massively deteriorating in some many ways. But the thing we have going for us is we are Northeast Arkansas's metropolitan area. So it would take a lot of road damage probably to deter, but it just is a sign. It is a sign that we're going in the wrong direction and that the leadership doesn't understand that. So roads. Another big one is corruption. So people have been barking about this situation with the City Stars for several years now. Nothing done. Feds have to get involved before finally somebody does something. Now, the mayor inherited some of this, and I get it, but things have been brought to his attention over the last 2 to 3 years, and it was ignored. Things were brought to city council, to the finance committee, and things were ignored. Not by everybody, but by the majority. And a lot of blind eyes have happened. So if there's that level of blindness, and you guys have heard me say, my prediction is that the City Star situation will be, $100,000+ a year. I would say probably 120 a year would be probably, I'd probably say 120 is it wouldn't surprise me if it was up to 150, but let's just say 100 to 120, maybe 80 to 120, somewhere in there. But has been being taken away, and some people have come on social media and my social media and said, City Stars is separate from the city, and that is true, but the city runs City Stars. Full-time city employees run massive aspects of City Stars, the soccer, the football, the basketball, all city employees, every one of them. And their full-time job is to run certain parts of the so-called City Stars organization. It's massively a corrupt situation. It's a massive money grab. What in the world? Scratch your head. Bunch of bull. And I was talking with a group and some friends of mine. Not only was someone taking, hundreds of thousands of dollars from a kids organization, the majority of them probably, just above the poverty line or in the poverty line. But the amount of things we didn't do as a city parks department with tournaments and other things, because if tournaments would come in, that would stop the money grab, because there would be accountability and gatekeeping and all of that good stuff. And so Danny didn't want that. He didn't want. So what did that do? Damage for the city. Well, you guys have heard me say before, those of you that are longtime listeners, but for those of you that are just now starting to tune in, our area is known for not being a great place to hold baseball tournaments, basketball tournaments, football tournaments, soccer tournaments, because at any wisp of wind and possible rain, they would cancel everything. And they wouldn't just cancel it for that day or a few hours. They would cancel the whole weekend, whether it was supposed to rain on Sunday or not or whatever. They would just cancel it. And so Jonesboro has a bad reputation for that. And nobody wants to come here. Nobody wants to sign up and get to hotel rooms to come here for the weekend, because they have been burned numerous times in the past by this situation. And that has cost the town, people that own things in our town, restaurants, hotels, I would say, and talking with some of my friends, probably $2 million a year, maybe $3 million a year. And that's atrocious. That's really bad. Really bad. And we could do a lot with $2 to $3 million a year. And it's a sad deal. And so not only was money being stolen, but lots of other money, other things that could have been happening within our town to help with roads or help with anything, bringing it up, didn't happen. And we got a bad reputation on top of it. So this situation is, I think we're going to find out other avenues and other ways that this has hurt, our town when all of this comes out as well. So it's a huge situation. It's not just somebody taking some money. It's number one, it's from a youth organization that could have used that extra $100,000 a year to really help kids and the experience, and maybe better coaches, maybe better refs, we have some good refs, but we're a lot of times scraping by. We can't pay them enough. And that was always like the argument. Well, we don't have enough money to pay more. Well, yeah, when somebody's putting $100,000 in their pocket, yeah, you don't have enough. When somebody's grabbing every bit that they can, you don't have enough. So it's bad. It's a bad deal. So that needs to change. The corruption. My thoughts are this, And I don't have any evidence other than if you've turned a blind eye to this amount of corruption, what else have you turned a blind eye to? There's all kind of skepticism about money changing hands to get favors throughout the town. And I bet some of that comes out over this. So we'll see. There's backdoor deals that have happened. There's buildings being bought and then sold, and then the city gets involved, and people make hundreds of thousands of dollars from silly stuff like that. We'll see what happens, but the corruption's got to stop. And that is in transparency. This mayor that we currently have talked about transparency during the election. They're so non-transparent. It's because nothing is said or done, especially at like the council meetings. There's no level of understanding. They bring something in. The mayor brings something in and to the city council meeting, and if city council's not asking the right questions, then we don't really know what's going on with a lot of the stuff that's brought to city council. And that's troubling. One of the things is this purchase of the property that the bank was on. Case in point, one of the situations that represents this is the purchase of the land where the bank was that we tore down. And Jerry Halsey comes in, who's a real estate agent, mainly commercial, and he's representing the land owner. And they wanted to sell it for, in my opinion, an exorbitant amount of money. And so they talk about it at these meetings. And one thing that they never said is that there's 4 parcels in this area. They were trying to sell 3 parcels with one literally right in the middle of these parcels. So if we purchased this for $750,000, we would have owned 3 of 4. So what would be, what good would it have been? Well, then we would have had to either, one, buy the 4th one or sell the 3 to the 4th owner. Well, there's all kinds of craziness with that. And here, and this is again this is the level of corruption. Is there's a group of people that have this like, hey, we're going to put a hotel there, and how do we make it successful? And they're brokering deals with other groups within our city and trying to figure out how they can get this land for whatever. And so now that's stories in the grapevine, but there's some massive evidence out there in this grapevine, and it's wrong. It's wrong. And the reason why it's wrong is because you and I couldn't do this. You and I couldn't buy this land and put a hotel in there and have these sweetheart deals so that we know we wouldn't fail. But that's what's going on with, a group of people within the city. And I don't mean within the city government, although I do believe certain people within it are involved, because it's almost impossible to pull something like that off without somebody being involved in the city. But, some of these guys that have been pulling the strings for a long time, one of them is you guys have heard me talk about Chris Barber a lot, but one of the stories is that he was going to make sure that the hospital would rent out like the first 3 floors of whoever it was that was going to put the hotel in, and that would immediately turn that hotel into a robust hotel, and well, what does that do for the other hotels that are trying to make a living in this town? Are they getting that sweetheart deal, without bidding or whatever it may be? No, they're not. They're not. And I don't, that's just hearsay. That's just stories that have been out there. And there's no evidence. There's just lots of talk, lots of chatter. And, those are the kind of deals that are going on, and the lack of transparency. So the city comes in and says, back to the property being bought, the city comes in and says, hey, we want to buy these parcels. They literally do not say there's one right in the middle. They don't say that. They don't say, hey, there's one right in the middle, and the guy that purchased it, which was Jerry Halsey, purchased it for $250 or $24 a square foot, but we're trying to buy the property for $71 a square foot. So they don't say any of that, and that's not transparent. That's trying to pull something. That's trying to pull the wool over us, and like, hey, nothing to see here, when there is a massive amount to see. And it's wrong. It's just wrong. If that property's so valuable, then as a city, we should make it real easy to purchase. And, if we need to get involved with helping people connect people, then fine. But we don't need to be purchasing it. Get out of the way. Let the people, the free market, the people that have money, the people that want to develop things, let them do it. I'm so sick of us as a city trying to supersede the free market. And I don't get it. There's things that we have X'd because we got people that are power hungry individuals in this town, and would have been great for Jonesboro, but got X'd because, A, B, and C didn't want it because it would infringe on them. And, so we lose out because of that. And it's just wrong. It's just wrong. And it's happening constantly. And it's got to stop. So the massive amount of corruption has to stop. And I do believe that lots and lots and lots more will become evident as this investigation and other things go on within our town. We'll start to see more of this, and it's going to put pressure on, the city council and others to demand transparency at a level that is supposed to be transparent. So, credit to, I can't remember who it was. I don't remember who it was. I want to say David McLean, maybe, that, asked about the parcel that was right in the middle, because he did his homework and he looked at the stuff going on, and he asked the question, well, what about this? And is Jerry going to sell it to the city? And if he does, what is it? And Jerry's there representing. Of course, he doesn't say anything about that. He doesn't answer that question, and neither did the mayor. Anyways, so credit to him and some of the other city council people. And credit to the city council, those that spoke up and talked about this and said, no way. Like, let's go back to the drawing board. This is not a good deal for the city or the taxpayers. And I'll be honest, that it was good to see, but we need way, way, way more of that. Way more of that. And we don't need to be in the business of buying property that we have no idea what we are going to do with it. I hear a couple of the city council people say, well, if we purchase it, then we can have say on what we're going to do with it. You're the city council. You're the city council. You could do ordinances. You could do all kinds of stuff. You do have a massive amount of control. So if your biggest thing is that you want to have control on what goes there, then make it happen. Write it up. Take it to the mayor and say, this is what I want to see, and to make sure that whatever's developed there is the right thing for the city. We don't have to buy it in order to make that happen. So let's move on, because I can sit here and talk about this kind of crazy stuff all day long. I do believe 2026, I'll have plenty of conversations about what's happening with the corruption world. We'll see what happens. So corruption's got to go. Roads got to be fixed. And business development. This is a big one. Business development has been somewhat stale. Now, we've had, people within the town open and close many different businesses, and it's sad. It's really sad situation when somebody opens up something with all the pressures that come from it, and they're excited and all that good stuff, and then it fails, and it's sad. But this is part of our development problem we have, and if somebody wants to open a boutique or someone wants to open up something and hopefully it succeeds, great. That's just the way that it goes. If it's not great, then people don't come in. If it's great, they don't have the advertisement, people don't come. I mean, it's tough. It's a tough thing to do, is open up a business. So my heart goes out to every single person that opens up a business. But what happens, or the lack of what happens, is there is very little support there. From our chamber and other things, there's very little support. So you get a ribbon cutting, but what after that? Here at the Pulse, and I'll talk a little bit about that at the very end here, but we're going to help in that. We're going to do some things, and we're going to help. We're going to help with that and see what's going on, and hopefully we can shine some light on some, businesses and things like that in Jonesboro. But the chamber's not doing any of that. People are pulling out of the chamber. Businesses are pulling out of the chamber, and that's because they have no confidence in the chamber. Now, I believe that the majority of people that work in the chamber are competent people. I believe that the people pulling the strings aren't, and we need to make a change. We need to make a change on the board. It's been the same doggone people for a long time. They've added a few here and there, but it's time to make a change. The president needs to step down. We're 4 years now, I think, as a C minus, between a C and a C minus as far as economic growth goes. We're the hub of Northeast Arkansas. Places are going to Paragould and other places instead of Jonesboro in Northeast Arkansas, and that's not okay. It's just not okay. And so it's time to make a change. And I just wish that those people would understand and have that conversation and say it's time to make a change, because it is. When you go 4 years, I know it's 3, I do believe it's 4 as a C, and you're the hub of Northeast Arkansas and one of 4 hubs in the entire state, then and we can't attract the right kind of businesses, it's time to make a change. We got to, those that are doing this need to have enough insight to get out of the way and put people in there that are eager for the job, and let's see if they can do something. With that being said, the Jonesboro Right Now group, I mean, I think that they're gaining some massive momentum. I think that it's, who's running their social media and things like that. I think that they're doing a good job. It's going to take some time, but man, they're working hard at it. So I believe that that's going to be a positive thing that the chamber's doing. Those people involved in that are doing a great job, but we need to do more. One of the things, and I watched the mayor's, I don't know if any of you guys watched the mayor's little video that he did at the end of the year, beginning of the year, and to kind of talk about stuff, and I'll hit that here in a minute. But, the thing he said was a great place to raise a family. And, if I would love for that to be Jonesboro's goal, like develop this to be a great place to raise a family. It used to be, And now I don't think we're any better than any other real city as far as that goes. I do think that we're better at certain things, but definitely not. You can't hang your hat and say we're a great place to raise a family any better than any other place. We can be, and that would be an amazing goal. That we have some challenges that I just don't know if we could ever get past. Mosquitoes and other things like that. Heat and so forth that kind of hinder certain things. But I believe that we should be this roaring, unbelievable town in a lot of different ways. And I don't know why we're not, and we're not attracting the right things. I don't get it. We're not attracting things for kids. We're not attracting other people. There's nothing really for kids to do, with the exception of, the trampoline park and a couple of other things, but there's nothing. And so if you want to, we have some parks, and don't get me wrong, they're great, but parents got to go and take them, and that's a whole nother issue. But we have to do better if Jonesboro is going to be a great place to raise a family. If that's going to be our motto, or if that's going to be one of our things that we want to hang our hat on, man, we got to figure that one out, because we are failing miserably. So I would love to see in 2026 we change that. We go after a water park. We go after, and I mean like a real water park, not a hey, come run at the park with water dumping on your head and the water's 2 inches tall. No, a real, amusement type water park, or something. I don't know. We got to do something. We have to do something more for Jonesboro, and there's a lot of new and great and wonderful things out there across the country, and we got to go get them. We got to show why they need to come to Jonesboro. And we don't need to be doing it. We need to be encouraging other groups to do it and bring it in. So we'll see what happens, but that's a must, absolute must. The housing situation has absolutely got to change. We have got to stop doing rentals, building massive rental properties throughout our town. It's a must. It's an absolute must. When rentals outweigh ownership in towns, the towns start to deteriorate. And the city council, those in charge, those in the zonings and all of that, better pay attention and better do your doggone homework on this. The two things, the people that are involved in this, that they need to be paying attention to. Number one, are we renting more than we actually own? And two, is our median income congruent with the prices of rentals and the prices of houses? If it's not, you need to freaking fix it. Like, this is a must. This was a last year's deal. And if you haven't done that, people in charge haven't done that, we got to quit voting for every single doggone development in this town. We've got to stop, because we're gonna kill our town. This is a metric that is proven metric, and it needs to be followed. So get it done, freaking do it. 2026, turn it, the city, like, quit. You need to be the ones teaching the rest of us about this stuff. You need to be the ones looking at how to make instead of so consumed about freaking sidewalks, how about figure out this kind of stuff? So there's that. Housing's got to be fixed. The housing situation has got to be fixed. Where housing goes, where multi-level housing goes, all of that stuff's got to change. It's got to change. The jail. This is a big one. This is a huge situation, and nobody talked about it. And this is the kind of stuff in Craighead and Jonesboro that really upsets me. Is there's catastrophic situations that nobody talk about. My opinion is this should be something that is being talked about to the residents, educating the residents continually until we have a solution for the problem that we have within our jail. It's full almost constantly. I think it is constant. And our judges have to, pull a rabbit out of the hat every time they got to convict somebody. You can't have an effective judicial system if we have no way to punish the people that are creating the havoc in our communities. It's a bad situation, and we have to fix it. If the voters don't want to change their opinion, the county's going to have to figure that out, because we cannot go and continue to go down this same way and expect it to get better without that massive change. So I would love to see 2026, the county come out and have a conversation with real numbers about what's going on within our jail and what we have to do, and come up with several different plans, detailed, massive, understanding plans on what it would take in order to fix this problem. Don't come with, maybes or ifs. Come with plans, come with understandings, come with, this is what this does, and this is what this does, and this is what this does, and how it affects our community, and come with it, because we're going to fail if we don't figure this one out too. There's so many failure points that we are running down. It's mind-boggling. It really is. Now, does that mean we're on the cliff and going to fall off tomorrow? No. But we are not going in the right direction in many, many, many of these situations. And, we want to attract certain people and things like that, and businesses and groups. Well, fine. Then do it in a manner that's not fuzzy math or, smoke and mirrors. Do it because we are doing what we say we're doing. We are the community that we say we are. So we got to fix the jail. Our police department. You guys have been hearing me talk about this for a while. We need new leadership at the top. That's not the one. That's the top two. We absolutely 100% need new leadership at the top, and we have to change we have to change it. We just have to. And what's frustrating is I talked about this in 2024 quite a bit. And, when I met with the mayor, I know that LJ had actually the same person in mind that would be the new chief and take that spot, and he would fix these things that we have going on. And we both agreed on that. And then I actually took this to the current mayor right after and between the election and the runoff, and he agreed that it needed to be changed, and he told me he was going to fix it in 2025, the first part of 2025, and here we are, 2026, nothing's been done. So why is that? Why you can't do it? Like what? That's your job. Fix the doggone police department. The men and women that serve us every day, that keep us safe, the ones that put on that badge and every day deserve better. They deserve a place where it is an enjoyable place to come put your life on the line and serve Jonesboro. Every single one of them deserve better. And we years ago, we never lost police officers to smaller towns around us, but we are now. Tons. tons. And it's a bad deal. Now we lose them to the state police, but we shouldn't. We shouldn't be. We should be such a great department that it would be so hard. I mean, occasionally we could lose some, but it should be really difficult that a policeman and a policewoman should want to leave the JPD. And it's not that way anymore. It's just not. And that's the truth. We've hired more. I believe we've hired more in the last year and a half or two than probably ever before. And we're still short. Like, we're still understaffed. We still have shifts that aren't full constantly. And again, those are the facts. These are 100% facts, and it needs to change. So the people at the top need to change. They are men and women that protect us each and every day deserve it. So that got to move. The jail's got to move. We got to work on the housing, business development, the corruptions. You know, guys, here's another thing. We have elections this year. We have elections for judges, and then we have the partisan races this March. And this is massively important. So the partisan races, we have, you know, the Republicans that are running for the same thing, that's in March, and the Democrats that are running for the same thing, that's in March. So we got primaries that have to be voted on, and then we have a ton of judges to be voted on. And people need to know who they're voting for. I've interviewed 2 out of 3 that are in one district, and I'd encourage you. We'll probably run some more of those so you can see the clips and stuff, but I encourage you to go back to the episodes and just take a look at the 2 that I did. I did Curtis Hitt, and I did Doug Brimhall. I did not do Andrew Nazem, if that's how you say it, but he hasn't reached out to me. But I would encourage you to go listen to those 2 interviews to see who it is maybe that you would like to vote for. You know, maybe Andrew will come on. I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to do a couple more here really soon and interview, and just hopefully we can get a better understanding of who these people are. But the judges are crazy important. Crazy important. I think we need to know their history, kind of who they are and what they stand for, and make sure that we are electing the appropriate judges in our town and in our community. And then we have school boards. We have a lot of school board elections going on. What's crazy is the majority of them are unopposed, and we have some, just in full transparency, I'm actually running for school board, and I am the only one in Jonesboro School District that has an opponent that I'm running against. And I may or may not come out and talk a little bit about that, but I can say this, that people on school boards need to do a better job. We need to know who's getting their hours, who's not getting their hours, their educational hours. We need to know how many times they're showing up to school board meetings. We need to know how are they getting their continuing ed hours. We need to know all of that stuff. Jonesboro, Nettleton, West Side, Valley View. We need to know all of that. And we need to know what they're doing. We need to know the direction that they're going and what their philosophies are. And then we need to hold our schools accountable. We need to use the school board to hold the schools accountable. And they're representatives of you, the people. So I would encourage you guys to find out, get involved in those. There are a few others that do have some races, and they're important. They're really, really, really important. So elections are major, major, major important. And the last thing I really wanted to kind of touch before I talk a little bit about the Pulse of Jonesboro in 2026 is, we the mayor came out and he did a little video, and he talked about thanking the residents for being kind and having strength and pride, and talked about how far we've come. And I'm tired of talking the talk and not walking the walk. I really am. And that's one of the biggest things for the Pulse of Jonesboro. If everything was going great, I wouldn't be here. If we weren't in a time where a lot of people that are elected officials and a lot of people that run in that circle of elected officials aren't power hungry, one, and or let's get me mine attitude, then the Pulse of Jonesboro wouldn't be needed. Unfortunately, that's not the case. And the Pulse of Jonesboro, in my opinion, is needed. And at some point in time, we're going to make sure that our elected officials, and this is the purpose of the Pulse of Jonesboro, is to make sure that our elected officials are doing their job. And it's tough. It's tough to get up here, and it's tough to call people out, and it's tough to say their names, and it's tough to, walk around town sometimes. And, when you go into a restaurant and one of the people that you just called out is there and they don't want to talk to you or whatever. I mean, it happened to me a couple times over Christmas. Went and played pickleball, and one of the guys at the trim gym, and one of the guys that I called out, didn't even look at me. But do your job. Do your job. And I don't say be perfect, because nobody's going to be perfect at this. I've served on enough boards and things like that to know that no board's going to get it right 100% of the time. But we are failing miserably in some aspects. Now, the residents of Jonesboro, I will agree with the mayor. The majority of the residents of Jonesboro are fantastic, but they need better representation. They are faith-based. We are a faith-based community. We are a caring community, and we've got tons and tons and tons of great people here. We have tons of business people here that have an unbelievable business mind and very successful businesses here. We are more small businesses than great ginormous ones like Northwest Arkansas has, but that is the backbone of our community is those people are farmers and our faith, and we need to start making sure that that's the direction we're going, not trying to chase Northwest Arkansas or some other thing. We've got to be the best version of Jonesboro, period. The best version of Jonesboro is the race we're racing. We're racing against ourselves, and we're not trying to beat anybody else. We're just trying to be the best version of ourselves. So it's time that 2026, that the people that we have elected do their job. And if they haven't, then we need to elect somebody else. And there's some city council meetings this year, or city council elections, that will happen in November, along with some of the other elections that we have. Now, most of the local elections, except the city council, will be decided probably in the primaries. But there will be a few that'll be pretty close races. But the city council races, hopefully we'll have a few, and hopefully it'll shed some light on those that are doing their job and those that aren't, and we'll see what happens. So, and we'll cover all of those. But, guys, I wanted to finish by talking a little bit more about the Pulse of Jonesboro. I want to kind of thank you guys. We ended the year. So Spotify and Facebook and all that stuff gives you kind of this end of the year overview. Ours was fantastic. Spotify said I'm in the top 20% of podcasts, which is fantastic. Facebook is in December we had 40,000 almost views, which is huge for Facebook. That's massive, massive. Facebook. Our following is going up, but the problem is that a lot of people that watch are still afraid to say that they watch for backlash purposes. And I will say this about the mayor, and then I'll get back to what I'm saying. He does have a reputation for kind of holding grudges. There's some stories out there that are pretty crazy. One with a waitress that he got mad and didn't tip and because she didn't know him and other things. But there's some more like that. But anyways, I digress a little bit. But with that being said, maybe that's why some people don't like to follow as much. But we're growing, and we're growing massively. We outperform every single month, and that's because of you guys. So what we're going to do next is we're going to, over the next few months, we're going to start doing things extra, not different. This part, the Thursday turnout, Thursday, Friday turnout, but normally Thursday will always be the same format. We're going to get better at recordings and better at lighting and all of that good stuff. We got some great things coming forward on that, but that's coming. And some of the other things is we are going to start doing, whether it's a weekly or monthly. We haven't ironed out all of the aspects of it yet, but we are going to start spotlighting local businesses, and especially ones that maybe have just opened or whatever it may be, and really start doing some things that we can do to help our community. I've been involved in a couple of things here this last year, and we made sure that we did a fundraiser, and I really wanted to do it with certain aspects of the city so that they could benefit as well. And we're going to continue to do that this year in some of those organizations that I'm a part of, and really involve the community. So we're going to do that here on the Pulse as well. And we're going to start a community chat, and I'm super excited about this. You'll be able to be in a community chat, and that's where we can go and we can have conversations, and it's private to that group. And there's issues that you guys want to talk about and that you want to see me talk about and find out. And those are one of the areas that we're going to be able to really talk and drill down to certain things and get stories that are happening around our community. And it's going to be fun. So that's going to be amazing. I can't wait for the community chat. And we are also going to do a newsletter, and we are also going to do giveaways. And the newsletter will be a monthly newsletter, may turn into a little bit more. I'll probably include like notes of where I get my information. Some of the stuff you guys have asked me over the past year, like where did you get that information, so forth and so on. Some of it I can't tell you where I got the information, but the majority of the time when it's statistics and things like that, I'll make sure that we put that in the newsletter. And so we'll get a monthly newsletter. And the giveaways are going to be great. We're going to do some giveaways. We're going to start with Guthrie's, and hopefully we'll start that in February. Starting February 1, we're going to do a Guthrie's giveaway where we give away a free year's worth of chicken. Now, what does that mean, free year's worth of chicken? But basically, you'll get a family pack every month for a year. And so we're going to do that. We're going to do that giveaway. There'll be ways to enter into it more and so forth. So we're going to get real busy about that, but we're going to make sure that happens. And more. There's going to be way more that we're going to do here on the Pulse of Jonesboro. And with all that being said, one of the ways and one of the big ways that that's going to happen is if we can get people to go to our website, and that's the Pulse of Jonesboro, and contribute. There's different ways to contribute there. And the more you can contribute, the more that we can do. And, you know, we have a couple of different news networks throughout our community. Some of them are better than others, but we want to be able to provide you with some real understanding, some real grassroots, and then a place where your voice is constantly heard. And so we are asking that people get involved and contribute to the Pulse of Jonesboro. So currently right now, go to our website. There's ways to contribute there. And when you contribute and fill out the information, you will be put into those categories where you'll be a part of the community chat, part of the newsletter, part of the giveaways, and many, many more things that will be coming in 2026. Guys, I am so very thankful for you. I appreciate you guys tuning in over and over and over again. We are making a difference in our community. People are taking notice. when the Pulse talks about certain stuff and shares that, and you guys share it, it is getting out to our community. It is holding our elected officials accountable. And it's the only thing holding our elected officials accountable in Northeast Arkansas. And we're going to continue to do that. And we're going to get more and more and more involved, not just within the city, but we're going to move into the county as well. And I've said that for a couple of months, but we're going to make sure that we bring you the information on what's going on within our county. And so stay tuned, like this, share this, get people to follow this, and we will continue to make sure that your voice is heard throughout our community. Again, I appreciate you so much. We will see you next week, and have a great weekend. God bless.